My world shattered on a Tuesday. Not with a bang, but with a save-the-date card. Cream-coloured cardstock, elegant calligraphy, and a picture of my daughter, Clara, beaming. Beside her, his arm wrapped possessively around her waist, was Mark. My ex-husband. The man I'd spent 15 years of my life with. The man who had left me for a younger woman, only to be dumped by her a year later. Now he was marrying our daughter. I stared at the photo, my heart a leaden weight in my chest. Clara was 24, a bright, beautiful girl with her whole life ahead of her. Mark was 51. The age gap was stomach-churning, but that wasn't the worst part. It was the betrayal. Deep, cutting, and from the two people I should have been able to trust most in the world. I called her immediately, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Her voice was breezy, almost dismissive. "Oh, Mom, don't be so dramatic. We're in love. Age is just a number." When I tried to reason with her, to explain how deeply wrong this was, she shut me down. "If you can't be happy for me, then don't come to the wedding." The words were a slap in the face. For weeks, I was a ghost in my own life. I'd wander through the house we once shared, memories ambushing me at every turn. Mark teaching Clara to ride a bike in the backyard. The three of us carving pumpkins on the kitchen floor. Were all those memories a lie? How could this have happened? I replayed every conversation, every interaction since my divorce. Clara had been my rock, my fiercest defender. Or so I thought. Then I remembered her casual questions. "Are you really, truly over Dad? Do you think he's happy?" At the time, I saw it as concern. Now, I saw it as reconnaissance. She wasn't comforting me, she was gauging the threat. My friends were split. Half of them told me to cut them both off, to wash my hands of the whole toxic mess. The other half urged caution. "She's still your daughter," they'd say. "Don't do anything you'll regret." But what I'd regret more was letting this monstrous charade go on without a fight. This wasn't love. It was something sick, a twisted act of revenge or a desperate cry for attention. I didn't know which, but I knew I couldn't just stand by and watch. As the wedding day approached, a cold resolve settled over me. They wanted me to be silent. They wanted me to disappear. But I am her mother, and I would not let her destroy her life without a fight. One rainy afternoon, while sorting through old boxes in the attic, looking for a distraction, I found it. Tucked away in a dusty photo album was a stack of old letters. They were from Mark's college years, written to his then-girlfriend. I'd forgotten they even existed. Curiosity got the better of me, and I started to read. They were filled with youthful passion and grand declarations of love. But one letter, dated a few months before he met me, made my blood run cold. In it, he wrote about a family secret, a genetic condition that ran on his father's side. It was a rare, degenerative neurological disorder. He wrote, "The doctors say there's a 50% chance I carry the gene, and a 50% chance any child I have could inherit it. I can't in good conscience bring a child into this world with that hanging over their head. I've decided I'll never have children." He never had children. But he had Clara. We had Clara. A cold, horrifying realization washed over me. I had always been the one who wanted a child. Mark had been reluctant, saying he wasn't ready. After years of pleading, he finally agreed. He never once mentioned this. He let me believe his hesitation was about career, about finances. He never told me about the genetic 50-50 coin toss he was subjecting our unborn child to. He had gambled with our daughter's life from the very beginning. And now he was marrying her. It wasn't just morally bankrupt, it was sinister. This secret was the key. This was the one thing that could make Clara see him for the selfish monster he truly was. The wedding day arrived. It was a lavish affair at a sprawling vineyard, the kind of place Mark always loved, showy and expensive. I wore a simple navy blue dress, a storm cloud in a sea of pastel. I watched Clara walk down the aisle on the arm of her grandfather. She looked like a princess in her white gown, but her eyes were brittle. When she looked at Mark, it wasn't with love. It was with a kind of desperate validation. I saw it then. This was never about love for Mark. It was about her unresolved anger towards me for the divorce, about her deep-seated insecurities. Marrying her father was the ultimate way to prove she could hold onto a man I had lost. It was a tragic, misguided rebellion. The ceremony was a blur. My heart pounded against my ribs. During the reception, the MC announced it was time for toasts. Mark's best man gave a generic speech. Clara's maid of honor cried. Then I stood up, a single piece of paper in my hand. The room fell silent. All eyes were on me, the jilted ex-wife and mother of the bride. I started calmly. I've known Mark for a long time. Longer than anyone in this room. And I've known Clara her entire life. I looked directly at my daughter. Clara, I love you more than words can say. And because I love you, I can't stand here and watch you make the biggest mistake of your life. A nervous murmur rippled through the crowd. Mark's face hardened. He tried to signal the MC to cut me off, but I was already holding up the letter. This is a letter Mark wrote 30 years ago, I said, my voice gaining strength. In it, he confesses a secret he kept from me our entire marriage. A secret he kept from you, Clara. I looked at Mark. He wrote about a hereditary neurological disease in his family. He wrote that he knew there was a 50% chance he could pass it on to any child he had. He wrote, and I quote, I can't in good conscience bring a child into this world. And yet, he did. He let me have you, Clara, never telling me the genetic risk he was exposing you to. The room was utterly silent. Clara's face had gone ghost white. She stared at Mark, her fairy tale crumbling around her. Is that true? She whispered, her voice trembling. Mark was sputtering, his face red with rage and humiliation. She's lying. She's a bitter old woman trying to ruin our happiness, am I? I said, my voice ringing with clarity. Clara, think about it. His father's long illness, the reason he never wanted you to get too close to that side of the family. The reason he has always been so obsessed with his own health, with his legacy. The pieces clicked into place on Clara's face. The confusion, the denial, the dawning horror. It was all there. She ripped the veil from her head and threw her bouquet on the floor. You lied to me, she screamed at Mark, tears streaming down her face. My whole life, you lied to me. She turned and ran, not back down the aisle, but out a side door, her white dress disappearing into the twilight. The aftermath was chaos. The wedding was over. My relationship with Mark was obliterated for good, and my relationship with Clara was hanging by a thread. For weeks, she wouldn't speak to me. I had saved her, but I had also humiliated her in front of everyone she knew. I thought I might have lost her forever. Then, one evening, there was a knock on my door. It was Clara. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but for the first time in years, they were clear. We sat in silence for a long time before she finally spoke. He admitted it, she said quietly. He's getting tested next month. And I'm getting tested, too. We both cried then. Tears of grief, of anger, of relief. It wasn't a happy ending. It was a messy, painful beginning. Rebuilding our trust would take time, maybe years. But as she reached out and took my hand, I knew it was possible. I had exposed a secret to ruin a wedding, but in doing so, I had saved my daughter, and sometimes a mother's love has to be fierce enough to burn everything to the ground to let something new grow. T. Thank you for listening.